Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. We've got the Champions of Europe picture over in the corner. It is Monday morning. Hopefully you guys have had a great weekend. Chelsea won 3-0. 6 Things We Learned has done very well on GBFC. Everybody is a winner. Everybody's happy. Before we get into the news though, if you guys are not yet subscribed to GBFC, I would love to ask you to do so. And if we can hit 3,000 likes on the first video of the week, then Chelsea will beat both Zenit St. Petersburg and Tottenham this week. It's a massive week of football. The first game in our Champions League title defence at home to Zenit St. Petersburg, and then a very tricky trip to North London, going to Spurs and hopefully piling on the pressure on Espirito Santo after his team were beaten 3-0 by Conor Gallagher's Crystal Palace. We begin today's news video by talking about Frank Kessie. You know Frank Kessie, he plays for AC Milan, and apparently Chelsea are in the race for his signature. He is not looking likely to sign a new deal at AC Milan, which means at the end of this season, Kessie can leave AC Milan on a free transfer. There are lots of top clubs in the offering for Kessie, including Tottenham, of course. There's going to be a very big Tottenham theme to videos this week. Spurs are heavily interested. They're kind of worried that Chelsea might do a Willian and actually go in for Kessie in order to stop Spurs from getting him. I don't think Chelsea, in terms of the way that we need to invest in our squad now and deal with transfers, we're not really at a point anymore where we do things as like little pokes at Tottenham Hotspur. I think we're so far above and beyond where that club have ever really aspired to be at this point that I don't really think we need to mess around with signing players just to spite the face of Tottenham Hotspur. However, Frank Kessie is a very decent young player. He's not going to be signing a new deal at AC Milan, and there is a reason why. Clubs such as PSG, who missed out on their first choice, Camavinga, they're going to be going in for him. Both of the Manchester clubs, Tottenham, and I think also read somewhere that Real Madrid as well, but they've just gone and bought Camavinga. So that is highly unlikely. There was also a little rumour circulating around last week in accordance to this link between AC Milan's Frank Kessie, free agent, free transfer to Chelsea. There were rumours that Mason Mount was furious about this one. And again, I think this is just absolutely mind-blowing journalism where once again Chelsea might be linked with a midfielder and then somebody just likes to poke at Mason Mount because there's not really much to complain about regarding Mason Mount, Chelsea. Yeah, we're not going to read into that one whatsoever. But Frank Kessie, decent player. Whether he is everything that we need in the Chelsea midfield remains to be seen. But it would be a free agent signing for a salary of around 6.5 million euros from next summer. Let me know your thoughts on the player in the comments below. We move into story number 2. And I wanted to talk about this one before we had the Aston Villa game the other day, but then I thought to myself, well, Callum Odoi, he started the game against Aston Villa, played for 80 minutes of it, and he did quite well. I think there were times on the touchline where Thomas Tuchel was kind of telling him to actually take players on, which has been my biggest pet peeve with Callum Odoi forever, but it was his 100th appearance in a Chelsea shirt, and for me, it doesn't feel like he's had 100 appearances whatsoever. But it is 100 Chelsea appearances. So congratulations to Callum Odoi. And a few days ago, Thomas Tuchel came and spoke out about the last day, transfer deadline day interest from Borussia Dortmund in Callum Odoi. He made it very clear that with no players coming in Hudson-Odoi's position, Callum was desperately needed by Chelsea. If you actually look at the squad numbers, I think in terms of quality, there is. But in terms of actual physical numbers, where if a winger was to get injured, how many more can fit in, there isn't that many out-and-out wingers. When we look at Christian Pulisic, who seems to spend a lot of the time out injured, Hakim Ziyech picks up regular injuries too, Callum is desperately needed. When Reece James is suspended, he came in at the weekend and showed again that he can do a job in the right wing-back position, and then he finished the game in the left wing position, which is finally Thomas Tuchel putting him in exactly where Callum wants to be. It is definitely make or break for Callum Odoi in his Chelsea future. I think if this season he doesn't feel satisfied with the game time that he's going to get, then I'm very sure that we'll see Callum Odoi leave in the next 2 transfer windows. I think this was the summer where if he was going to move, I don't think many people would have been surprised in order to develop that game time that he so desperately craves and deserves. But I think it is last chance saloon. And I think games like the one against Villa at the weekend, where again, he was good, but nothing really groundbreaking, it's going to be hard for him to kind of maintain a regular place in the team. Yes, Pulisic is out injured. I don't know. I'm still very much aware that Callum Hudson-Odoi is a great player, and I think wherever he ends up in his career, it will be because he's a quality footballer playing good football. And I don't think he was bad against Aston Villa at all. Just don't think it was enough to really shine a light too highly on himself for Thomas Tuchel to pick him week on week. Maybe we see him against Zenit tomorrow. I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that in tomorrow's match preview first thing in the morning. We move into, once again, discussing Declan Rice. There is a lot of talk at the moment that Declan Rice will be playing his final season at West Ham United. I don't think for a second that that is a surprise to many people within the footballing world. There is still a big divide amongst Chelsea fans as to whether or not Declan Rice is the player we should be going for. And I've talked about Declan Rice a hell of a lot on the channel. I was kind of surprised that last window, both Chelsea and Manchester United didn't actually go in with anything serious or concrete for Declan Rice. However, he knows that at the end of this season, he's going to be making a move, and it's going to be to one of the Premier League big boys. Whether that is Chelsea remains to be seen. However, Chelsea have always said that they like Declan Rice. He obviously was in the Chelsea Academy. We know it would certainly work, but again, you see options, Frank Kessie on a free transfer potentially. And then you look at what the money that West Ham are demanding for Declan Rice, and it's like, you know, Chelsea looking good financially again, but if we're going to be going in for other players, particularly in January too, which we will get onto in a moment, is Declan Rice going to be slightly out of Chelsea's price budget again? I think he's a quality player. I think if Chelsea are looking to move to a 4-3-3 at some point in the future under Thomas Tuchel, then Declan Rice is the perfect player. As for playing in a pivot, not entirely sure about that one, but we will see as the season progresses if Chelsea sustain the 3-5-2 with wing-back formation. We move into Chelsea's January transfer priority, Jules Koundé. Ever since the deadline day when Jules Koundé was thinking Chelsea were going to go in for him, stick in a late bid, I made it quite clear. I think I filmed it, but I don't think you guys saw it because I think the microphone was just too bad, and then I didn't re-record. I said that Jules Koundé and the potential Chelsea move is kind of Sevilla are shooting themselves in the foot with this one, in my opinion, because Jules Koundé made it very obvious that he wanted to leave the club and join Chelsea. They also, Sevilla, tried to kind of do like a sly, dirty move on Chelsea here, and Koundé really, by demanding an extra additional fee on top of the so-called, I hate the word, but gentleman's agreement that was going on between the clubs. And obviously it's the same with Harry Kane's situation at Spurs with Daniel Levy. Yeah, there was a gentleman's agreement that he could leave Tottenham, but the only thing that's really valid in footballing terms is a signed contract with your bloody pen on the bloody paper. So at this moment in time, Chelsea can't really be too disappointed because they had the choice to spend that additional 15 million. However, I'm very happy that we didn't for 2 reasons. Number 1, Trevor Chalobah is a more than good enough player to come in and at least have until January to stake his claim to be a top defender at Chelsea Football Club. Point number 2 is that the moment Chelsea start giving in to these last-minute demands of clubs who know Chelsea have money, the bargaining power and Chelsea's prowess within the transfer market suddenly becomes tarnished. It becomes something that other clubs where Chelsea are interested in their players will know that if they just bide their time and keep pushing Chelsea, then Chelsea might be inclined to spend more money. It was very, very good that Chelsea didn't budge on the offer that they put in for Jules Koundé. When Sevilla turned around and said, you know what, we want a bit more, Chelsea didn't even flinch. And I think they made it quite clear with Thomas Tuchel's public praise of Trevor Chalobah, with the new contracts proposed to Rudiger, Christensen and Chalobah himself. I think Chelsea have made it clear that there is belief and confidence within the defensive ranks already that Jules Koundé isn't necessarily needed. However, Chelsea are reportedly going to be pushing for the player in January. And I think considering the player has made such a stand since the move to Chelsea didn't go through, he removed Sevilla from his Instagram bio, which you can buy into that as much as you like, but it does mean a big deal to players these days. And he was also refusing to train. I believe that he's back now, but he kicked up a bit of a fuss. You know, the toys were slightly thrown out the pram, as it would be if a move was broken down to the European champions. However, Chelsea are still having their firmly first target set. That was the worst English in the world, but you guys know me. I like to roll with my mistakes in videos. Chelsea's prime target, Jules Koundé, is the top target for January's transfer window. However, a spanner has been thrown into the works in this one. Bloody hell, Benson, a spanner on a Monday? Yes, a spanner. And that spanner goes by the name of Matias De Ligt from Juventus. Chelsea are reportedly interested in offering Juve £15 million plus Timo Werner to bring in Matias De Ligt. Now, I'm going to say this very closely, very clearly, right now. I believe that Chelsea should sign Jules Koundé at 50, 60 million instead of giving Timo Werner to Juventus and also giving them cash. I think even if it was Timo Werner direct for Matias De Ligt, I'd be disappointed. Timo Werner plus cash for Matias De Ligt would pee me off beyond belief. I believe we give Timo Werner all of this season to prove that he is a fundamental key player within this Chelsea squad, the same way that I believe he was last season. Let me know your thoughts on that transfer rumour in the comments down below. Do you want to see Chelsea go for Matias De Ligt, or do you want to see us go all out for Jules Koundé? Or maybe you don't want to see us go for anyone and you're happy with the back line that Chelsea currently have. But anyway, this has been your Chelsea news video on a Monday morning. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. As I said at the beginning, 3,000 would be grand. And subscribe if you are new. Catch you guys later. Come on, you Blues.